You know, I didn't think the Michael Penix pick could get any stupider or look any dumber on paper. And then this happened. Welcome everybody to JJ9 News, where we talk all things NFL all the time. I'm Jared Gare, and I representing the 904 from the 602. And today, we are talking about the 2024 NFL Draft, this strap behind me right here, and these two teams behind me right here, specifically the Atlanta Falcons, because they made a lot of people scratch their heads when they delivered one of the first real shocks of the draft, taking quarterback Michael Penix with the 8th overall pick. This despite the fact that they signed Kirk Cousins to a 4-year deal. Penix is 24 years old. It's a move that doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense on paper, but they feel like Penix can be the future. Again, it's a bit weird because they gave Cousins a 4-year deal, so they'll have to make a decision on Penix by the time Cousins' contract is up. And if Cousins plays well across all 4 years, they will not have seen a whole lot of Penix. So, interesting pick to say the least. There's been a lot of debate about that. There's been a lot of talk about that. I don't really want to dive into that specifically with this video. What I do want to talk about is the trade that the Falcons rejected in order to get Michael Penix, because new footage has come out from a Roku documentary that showed behind the scenes of the NFL Draft and showed that the Chicago Bears at pick number 9 were trying to trade up one spot with the Atlanta Falcons to pick number 8 so they could acquire their guy, Washington wide receiver Rome Odunze. And obviously both those guys played at Washington, so Washington player, 8 and 9. And the Falcons rejected the trade. The Falcons said, we do not want to go back one spot and give you your guy. Take a listen and take a look at what exactly transpired at the NFL Draft.
Might as well call Terry, right? Father? Might as well call Terry.
You can see, yeah, but I just don't. Do you feel like you need that?
I think they take mostly. Would you move back one spot? Is that in the cards, or are you gonna go this way? Just like a future 4th. We did the same thing with Philly last year. Okay. Thanks. Yeah.
So again, the Bears trying to move up to pick number 8, make sure that they can get their guy. The Falcons would move back from 8 to 9, and the Falcons said no. Why on earth would the Falcons reject this trade? This is one of the stupidest rejected trades I have ever seen in my life, and I do not say that lightly. I do not say that with any exaggeration, any hyperbole whatsoever. If the Falcons really rejected this trade, some serious questions have to be asked about their front office. They were going to get an extra 4th-round pick for moving back one measly spot, and they reject it. What do the Falcons have to lose from this trade? First off, Michael Penix was always Atlanta's guy. So it's not like the Falcons were thinking about taking Rome. If they were going to take Rome, they would have taken him at pick number 8. Penix was always their guy. According to the reports, according to everything, they wanted Penix. They got Penix. Guess who wasn't taking Michael Penix? That's right, the Chicago Bears. This is not hindsight bias talking. The Bears were not taking Penix. I would have bet my life savings that if the Bears traded up to pick number 108, they would not have taken Michael Penix. The Bears literally took a quarterback with the first pick of the draft, taking USC man Caleb Williams. There were never any rumblings about Penix to the Bears. No team has drafted 2 quarterbacks inside the top 10. Heck, it is extremely rare for teams to draft 2 quarterbacks in the same exact class. It doesn't happen often, let alone in the first round, let alone in the top 10. This was clearly not going to happen. The Bears didn't need a backup quarterback. They have Tyson Bagent. They didn't need a backup quarterback. They signed a veteran in the offseason. They didn't need a starting quarterback. They got Caleb Williams. They weren't taking a quarterback. So if you're the Falcons, you make this trade with the Bears. You trade back one spot. Not only can you still get your guy, not only can you still get Michael Penix, but you get him at a cheaper price, because the price for pick number 9 is less than the price for pick number 8. It's not significantly less, obviously, but it's not nothing. It's something. It can help you out in the salary cap going forward. And on top of that, you get a free 4th round pick in return. Why would you not do this? Now, some might say, wait a second, timeout. What's to say that the Bears wouldn't have traded the pick? They would have traded up the pick 108, and they would have traded the pick to another team, and that team would have taken Penix. That's complete nonsense. Number one, they would have had no time to do that whatsoever. The draft moves extremely quickly. You only have 10 minutes per pick. It would have been a lot for the Bears to get on the clock, negotiate a trade with the Falcons, and then negotiate a second trade in order to get the appropriate compensation to then get that team to get on the clock. It does not happen. Actually, let me scratch that. I have seen it happen one time before. I saw it happen in 2014. The Cleveland Browns, they traded up with the Jacksonville Jaguars who were on the clock, and then the Jaguars, after trading back the pick, they got a few second rounders in return. The Browns were now on the clock, and they immediately traded that pick to the Seattle Seahawks. There's two things with that. Number one, very different set of circumstances. The Seahawks had the pick behind the Browns. The Browns were threatening to take Seattle's player. So this was a strategic move by the Browns in order to get something in return. And number two, this was a freaking movie. This was draft day. This was the Kevin Costner movie. The only time I've seen a pick be dealt twice in minutes is in a movie. If the Bears were to trade the pick immediately after getting it somehow, they would have made unprecedented history that we have never seen before. Plus, the Bears wanted one of the big three wide receivers in the draft. They either wanted Neighbors, they wanted Harrison, or they wanted Rome Odunze. If you trade that pick after getting it, you would have missed out on that because there's no way whatsoever that Rome would have been on the board by the time the Bears would be on the clock with whatever pick they got next. Maybe it'd be 11, maybe 12. I have no clue. What it would have been, but the Bears would have missed out on one of the big three receivers, so it wouldn't make a whole lot of sense. Now, look, I completely get the Falcons rejecting this trade. If the Falcons were in the same market for a player that the Bears were going to take, or there was a possibility, even a remote possibility, that it could happen. Let's say the Falcons have pick number 8, and the Broncos have pick number 9, or the Vikings have pick number 9, or the Giants have pick number 9, and the Falcons reject the trade. Totally understand. If Penix is your guy, there are teams that could potentially take some quarterbacks, maybe even the Raiders. I get it. I completely get not wanting to take a chance on trading the pick and risking that your guy won't be available, especially for a 4th-round pick. Not that it's nothing. We'll get to that in a bit, but if you have your guy, you take your guy. But as an example, let's say the Cardinals really want Marvin Harrison Jr. The Chargers call up and say, we'll give you an extra 4th. We can move up from pick number 5 to pick number 4. You decline because you fear they could take Marvin Harrison Jr. Now, I don't think they're going to take a receiver. They took Joe Alt instead, so they did not take one of the big 3 receivers. That was a bit of a surprise. But especially once for a QB, I completely get it. There are some risks to trading back, even if it is one spot. But here, with the Bears, who just took a quarterback, take the free 4th-round pick, take the reduced cap hit, and go about your day. I'll give you an example of what this is like. This is like if you're out with your best friend and you're waiting in line to get a slice of pizza. So you're in front and your friend is behind you. There's only one slice of pineapple pizza before they're out for the day. Now, your friend really wants that slice of pineapple pizza, and your friend is behind you in line. Your friend has been craving pineapple pizza all day. They've let you know about it. They love pineapple pizza, and you know about that. Now, you personally, you hate pineapple pizza, partly because it tastes bad, but partly because you're allergic to pineapple. You're not going to order pineapple pizza. Your friend says to you, I will give you $5 if I can leapfrog you in line and get your spot in line because I want that pineapple slice. And you say no, even though you're not having that pineapple slice because you're allergic to pineapple. You're still going to get the slice that you want. Your friend is going to leapfrog you and get something that you are not ever going to get in return. There's no reason to pass that up and get the free money. That's exactly what happened with the Bears Falcons. The Falcons literally could have gotten an extra 4th-round pick for absolutely nothing. And the Bears were trying to make the trade, and the Falcons said no for some inexplicable reason. And again, it's not like a 4th-round pick isn't nothing. You use your 4th-round pick in 2021 to draft your starting center for the last 2 seasons, who's looked really, really good. Some examples of guys in the last 3 years before this to get drafted in round 4, so from 2021 to 23. Again, these are just some examples. Amon-Ra St. Brown, one of the best receivers in football. Derek Barnes, huge part of that Lions defense. Ramondre Stevenson, good running back for the Patriots. Dameon Pierce, I know he had a rough season last year, but he was looking like the offensive rookie of the year in 2022. You had Jake Ferguson, the tight end on Dallas, Romeo Doubs, Isaiah Likely, Chiggy Okonkwo. It's not like it's a waste of a pick here. It's not like we're talking about your 7th round pick where they're fighting to make the roster and you're doing this trade and you don't even know if that guy's going to make it onto the team. Very, very different set of circumstances here. Extremely different. Why the Falcons would reject this trade, I have no clue whatsoever. If they were always going to take Penix and all they had to do was move back one spot and a team was leapfrogging them to take a guy that clearly was not going to be Penix because they didn't need a quarterback, makes no sense for them to not make this move. It really doesn't make any sense. The Penix pick was already questionable, and now with this move that they rejected a trade, it makes it even 10 times more questionable. I don't know why they did it, but we'll have to wait and see what happens with Penix on the Falcons, because this highly controversial decision just got a heck of a lot more controversial. But what are your thoughts on this Bears-Falcons trade that didn't go through? Do you think the Falcons made the right call in not taking the chance and in not moving back from 8 to 9? Let me know in the comments down below. What are your thoughts on Michael Penix of the Falcons? What are your thoughts on that Falcons quarterback situation? Again, let me know everything down below. And that is going to do it for this episode of JJ9 News. Be sure you like and subscribe. It helps the channel out a lot. And be sure to check my main channel, JaguarGator9, where we talk all things NFL history all the time. Until next time, this is JaguarGator9 signing off. And as always, go Jags.